What's up, you guys? Steve here with your 2021 tax changes. And there's a lot of things to take into consideration. The stimulus check update, the unemployment update. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. Here's an article that just came out 2 days ago that says Americans could owe $50 billion in taxes on unemployment benefits this year, and up to 38% of those collecting unemployment didn't even know they owed taxes on their unemployment benefits. So in this video today, I'm gonna get you caught up in the latest. We're gonna go ahead and dive into details regarding how much you should be withholding, what you should take into consideration if you're still on unemployment, and stick around to the end because I'm going to be giving you some resources on a lot of the stuff you should take into consideration if you're filing your taxes in 2021. There's a lot of new benefits that you need to take into consideration. So we're going to dive into some articles and some videos. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, but before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, it'll just take a second. If you like and appreciate these video updates, why don't you go ahead and employ the like button? I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Like button, comments, and sharing these videos out to anybody that you think might be interested. It helps out the channel. Thank you so much. And also, if you're not already part of the viewing community, the Ram fam, and you would like to stay up to date on everything rolling out right now, why don't you go ahead and take a second to smash the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that way as soon as I upload videos, you can get notified right away. And if you don't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. I do my best to respond to as many questions here on YouTube as I can, but I can't get to them all, so Instagram is also a great way to reach me as well. But now let's go ahead and dive into the latest regarding your 2021 tax filing for everything that's unfolding and a lot of the stuff that you should take into consideration that can help you out on your taxes. All right, so before we dive in, let's start off with a disclaimer. First of all, I am not a CPA or a tax attorney, and this should not be taken as tax, legal, or financial advice. I'm simply a guy that likes to talk to my phone in the corner of my room that may or may not be wearing pants, and then I like to upload it to YouTube to try to help people. So please be sure to consult a professional regarding your taxes or any legal stuff, and this is just simply for helping people out to take into consideration some of the things regarding taxes. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and start. All right, so the first change that you may be aware of is the fact that normally you can file your taxes the last week of January. However, in 2021, the first day that you can file is going to be February 12th. And here's why. Here's an article that says the change aims to ensure that eligible people who will receive the remaining stimulus money as a recovery rebate credit when they file their 2020 tax returns can do so. So we're going to be discussing stimulus checks here and taxes in just a second. But first, we're going to look at some video footage of them reminding us that even though the start date was delayed, you should be filing your taxes right away, especially if you're on unemployment. Due to the fact that there was so much unemployment fraud and scams taking place, you're going to want to take care of this right away. So let's go ahead and dive right in.
This is way too complicated. I'm just going to blow the whole thing off, I think. Is that an option for me, do you think? No?
It's not an option for you, Joe. And more importantly, the best option is to file as early as you can, because as was just mentioned, we don't know how much of a backlog there may be, but there definitely will be a backlog if everyone waits until April 15th. As of now, that is the tax filing deadline, just as it always was, except for last year. So you want to make sure to get it in as early as possible. And the other caveat that a lot of people are talking about in the CPA community is concern about identity theft. And a way to avoid that is to make sure that your return is the one that the IRS or your state government sees first and not some imposter, because they're not going to know who it is. And if you're due the return or that tax return says that you're due a refund, then you're going to get it. So you want to make sure that you file as early as possible to get the refund as soon as possible. And as I mentioned, that recovery rebate credit, if you're due that, the earlier you file, that's better for you.
So there you guys have it. They said you should be filing right away. Take into consideration there could be a backlog since the start date was delayed, and also you're going to want to do it in case there are any scammers out there trying to steal your information and claim your rebate. Now, she did also mention the stimulus rebate, and that's a good segue for stimulus checks. And stimulus checks are pretty easy. You do not pay taxes on stimulus checks. Now, if you were eligible to get a stimulus check and for whatever reason you didn't receive it, I know a lot of people who were and they just didn't get it for whatever reason, you can claim it as a rebate on your taxes. You're going to want to do so right away so that way you can get that. And also when you file your taxes, it'll update your information for the third stimulus check of $1,400, which is going to be on the way here very soon. So you're going to want to do that because the first check was $1,200, the second was $600, and the third is going to be $1,400. As long as you're an individual making $75,000 a year or less, or a couple filing jointly making $150,000 a year or less, you should be eligible for those checks. So next, let's talk about unemployment. And the easy answer is yes. Taxes are always taken from unemployment, and it's taxed like regular income. So if you're in a state that has state income tax, you're gonna have to pay federal and state taxes on those unemployment benefits, unless you're in one of the lucky states where they exempt taxes on unemployment. And I'm gonna be letting you know which states those are here in just a second. But if you got that $600 per week boost from March to July, you gotta pay tax on that on top of your unemployment. And if you got the current boost of $300 per week, you gotta pay tax on that. And if you get any other boosts or extensions of unemployment, you got to pay tax on that as well. So let's go ahead and dive into a video clip though that's going to be breaking down some more detail on this for us, and let's go ahead and take a look.
Jobless claims are at record levels, and what the millions of Americans filing for unemployment may not realize is that those benefits are taxed. Sharon Epperson joins us now with the details. Sharon, I didn't know this either.
Neither did I until I started reporting it out, and it's fascinating to find out that even though you may have seen a drop in your income for this year because you've lost your job, if you're receiving unemployment benefits, you could potentially face a tax bill next year. This is how it works. Your state unemployment benefits, as well as the extra $600 that you get per week in coronavirus relief from the CARES Act, is taxed by the federal government as ordinary income, just like wages. So while you don't have to pay Social Security taxes or Medicare taxes on these unemployment benefits, you will be taxed by the federal government and possibly your state. And if you don't pay enough tax throughout the year, you could wind up paying penalties and interest as well. So here's what you need to do to avoid any potential tax hit. Ask to have 10% of the unemployment benefit withheld, and that will cover your federal income taxes. You could also ask to have estimated taxes that you'll pay quarterly, or you could just save 10% of every payment in your own savings account. And we talked to Credit Karma CEO Ken Lin. They have an online free tax preparation service, and he advised saving that money in your own account to give you the flexibility to manage whatever you need to over the course of the year, and then also still have a cushion and have that money saved up to pay a potential tax bill if you have to next April.
So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As they said, it's a good idea to set aside about 10% just for federal taxes. That's just federal. That doesn't include state either. Now, this article says these surprise tax bills would reduce tax refunds or possibly even require net tax payments from these vulnerable households, which may force them to reduce spending. And it says a recent survey conducted by Jackson Hewitt found that 38% of Americans receiving these unemployment benefits were unaware of the fact that they have to pay taxes on them. And of those, 2/3 have set aside nothing. They've been using all of the unemployment benefits just to make it day to day. And now they're going to owe taxes on that unemployment. Now, in addition to the federal tax, you might have to pay state taxes as well. That is, unless your state is exempt. And here are the exempt states. It says California, New Jersey, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia are the only ones to completely exempt state taxes on your unemployment benefits. So if you're in those states, take into consideration your federal taxes, but you're exempt from your state. So if you find yourself in a situation where right now you're unemployed, you don't have any money, and now you owe back taxes too, you're going to want to talk to a tax professional, maybe a CPA or a tax attorney that's going to be able to help you out and give you some advice, somebody that can give you some guidance so that way you can figure out how to pay this back either partially or over time, so it's not one big hit right now when you don't even have money to pay for your bills or your regular living expenses, let alone owing back taxes. So you're definitely going to want to do that, as well as take into consideration a lot of the new benefits that came up in 2020. Now, I'm going to be going into more detail in this video right here. Be sure to check it out, where I talk about the child tax credit, education taxes, and a lot of different benefits that you're going to want to think about when filing your taxes that could help you out a lot. So be sure to check that out. And once again, you guys, if you made it this far and you like and appreciate these video updates, why don't you go ahead and take a second to smash the like button. I would appreciate it. It helps me out. Also hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that way as soon as I upload, you get notified. And also, if you're not already, be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. Well, you guys, I hope this reaches you well. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.